Dr. Elena Martinez stood in the depths of the Martian cavern, her headlamp illuminating what shouldn't exist. The crystalline structure before her pulsed with a faint blue light, its geometric patterns too perfect to be natural. She had expected to find basic mineral deposits during this geological survey. Instead, she had discovered something that would shatter humanity's understanding of their place in the galaxy. "Control, are you seeing this?" She whispered into her comm, her breath fogging the inside of her helmet. The signal delay to Earth was minimal thanks to the Galactic Council's approved communication relays, one of the few advanced technologies they had graciously shared with humanity upon first contact 30 years ago. "Affirmative, Doctor," came the response from Dr. James Chen at Mission Control. "Initial scans suggest technology far beyond Council-approved levels. Implementing Protocol Omega." Protocol Omega. The word sent a chill down Elena's spine. It was a contingency they had created but never expected to use. Complete communications blackout from official channels, switching to the hidden quantum network that brilliant minds on Earth had developed in secret. The Galactic Council had arrived on Earth 3 decades ago, presenting themselves as benevolent mentors to guide humanity's development. They offered technology, knowledge, and membership in their interstellar community, with conditions. Humanity would advance only at a pace they deemed appropriate, using only the technologies they approved. Many celebrated this guidance. Elena had always seen it for what it was, a cage built of regulations and restrictions, wrapped in diplomatic smiles and patronizing praise. The crystalline structure pulsed again, stronger this time, as if responding to her presence. Elena's handheld scanner, built with components smuggled from 3 different colonies to avoid detection, showed energy readings that defied Council physics. "Elena," James's voice came through her private channel now, encrypted and untraceable. "The Council's orbital monitoring station will pass over your position in 20 minutes. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now." She reached out, her gloved hand hovering over the crystal surface. The Council had always claimed that humanity wasn't ready for advanced quantum manipulation, that their minds weren't evolved enough to grasp certain scientific principles. Yet here was proof that someone had achieved it, and hidden it on humanity's doorstep. "Starting extraction," she announced, removing specialized tools from her pack. Tools that officially didn't exist, created by engineers who had grown tired of asking permission to innovate. "Have the containment unit ready at Base Camp Alpha." The crystal released easily from its housing, almost as if it had been waiting to be found. As Elena carefully stored it in her shielded case, she noticed additional markings on the cavern wall, previously hidden behind the artifact. They weren't in any Council-approved language. "James, getting you images of some markings. Can you run them through our independent database?" A few moments passed before his reply came, excitement evident in his voice. "Elena, these match fragments we found in the lunar caves last year. The ones we kept off official records." The implications hit her like a physical force. This wasn't just random alien technology they had stumbled upon. This was part of a pattern, a breadcrumb trail left by someone who had operated outside Council oversight. As she made her way back to the surface, Elena's mind raced with possibilities. For years, a growing number of humans had suspected the Council wasn't being entirely truthful about humanity's potential. Small groups of scientists and engineers had worked in secret, pushing boundaries, developing technologies that existed in the gray areas of Council regulations. The Council claimed these restrictions were for humanity's own good, preventing them from advancing too quickly and making the same mistakes as other species. But Elena had accessed enough restricted historical documents to know better. Every species that had risen to prominence in the galaxy had done so by breaking rules, by pushing beyond imposed limitations. The Martian wind howled around her as she emerged from the cavern, the planet's rusty surface stretching endlessly beneath the stars. Somewhere up there, Council ships patrolled, their sensors sweeping for any sign of unauthorized technological development. She checked her shielded case one more time. The crystal inside still pulsed with that mysterious blue light, each fluctuation seeming to whisper of possibilities the Council insisted humanity wasn't ready to explore. "Transport incoming," James informed her. "Clean signatures, no Council tags." Elena allowed herself a small smile. The network of humans working beyond Council oversight was larger than anyone suspected. Engineers, pilots, scientists, all of them united by a simple belief: humanity's potential couldn't be contained by arbitrary restrictions. As the transport descended, its hull decorated with legitimate mining operation markings, Elena thought about the choice they were making. The Council had been clear about the consequences of unauthorized technological development. Entire species had been quarantined for lesser violations. But as she looked at the pulsing crystal, Elena knew humanity had spent too long asking permission to grow. It was time to show the galaxy what humanity could really do. The transport landed, kicking up swirls of red dust. Inside that crystal was technology that could rewrite humanity's future. The Council would call it dangerous. They would say humanity wasn't ready. Elena squared her shoulders and walked toward the transport. They weren't going to ask if humanity was ready. They were going to prove it. 3 months after the discovery, Dr. Elena Martinez stood in the hidden laboratory beneath Europa Station, watching as the crystalline artifact pulsed in sync with their experimental quantum array. Around her, 24 of humanity's brightest minds worked in focused silence, each of them chosen not just for their expertise, but for their shared vision of human potential. Power fluctuation stabilizing at 300% above Council-approved levels. Dr. Yuki Tanaka announced from her monitoring station, her voice steady despite the breakthrough they were witnessing. Quantum coherence maintaining across all test nodes. The artifact they'd discovered on Mars wasn't just advanced technology. It was a key to understanding how deeply the Council had underestimated humanity. Within its crystalline structure lay proof that the physics they'd been taught was deliberately simplified, designed to keep humanity dependent on Council technology. "Begin Phase 2, Elena ordered, her eyes fixed on the holographic displays showing real-time quantum interactions that, according to Council doctrine, should have been impossible for human minds to comprehend. The deep space probes they'd launched in secret had confirmed their theory. The artifact was one of many, scattered across the solar system like pieces of a puzzle. Lieutenant David Santos, their military liaison, stepped forward from the shadows. "We've detected increased Council activity in the outer system. They're expanding their patrol routes." Elena nodded, unsurprised. The Council wasn't stupid. They must have detected anomalies, subtle signs that humanity was pushing against their restrictions. But they were looking for obvious rebellion, for military buildups and overt technological development. They weren't prepared for the quiet revolution happening in hidden labs across human space. "Show me the latest data from the Luna facility," she requested. A new hologram materialized, displaying the results from their sister laboratory hidden beneath the lunar surface. Dr. James Chen's team had been working on practical applications of their discoveries, finding ways to implement advanced technology without triggering Council detection systems. The numbers were promising. They had already developed quantum communication systems that operated outside Council monitoring, allowing humanity's scattered research teams to coordinate their efforts. More importantly, they had begun to understand the principles behind Council technology, principles that were supposed to be beyond human comprehension. "Dr. Martinez," Yuki called out, her voice tight with excitement. "You need to see this." She brought up a new display, showing the artifact's internal structure at the quantum level. "The patterns, they're not random. It's a language." Elena moved closer, her heart racing, as she studied the quantum fluctuations. The artifact wasn't just a piece of advanced technology. It was a message, written in the language of reality itself. As she watched, familiar patterns emerged, mathematical constants, physical principles, and something more. "It's a warning," she whispered, the realization hitting her like a physical force. No, not a warning. An invitation. The quantum patterns told a story of another species that had once been guided by the Council, who had discovered these same artifacts and used them to break free from their imposed limitations. They had left these breadcrumbs knowing that eventually another species would be ready to follow their path. Council patrol approaching Jupiter space, David announced. Standard sweep pattern. Elena watched her team smoothly transition to their cover activities, the advanced equipment disappearing behind false walls as authorized research projects came online. They had become experts at this dance, at hiding revolution behind compliance. The artifact's glow dimmed, but its message remained clear in Elena's mind. The Council's greatest mistake wasn't underestimating human intelligence or creativity. It was believing that humanity would be content to advance only when given permission. Send word to all facilities, she ordered once the patrol had passed. Begin implementation of Phase 3. It's time to show the Council exactly what humanity can do when we stop asking for permission to grow. Around the solar system, hidden laboratories hummed with forbidden knowledge. On Mars, Dr. Chen's team had already begun manufacturing quantum processors that outperformed Council technology. Beneath the ice of Europa, engineers were designing ships that could traverse space in ways the Council claimed were impossible. In orbital habitats and underground bases, humans worked in secret, preparing for the day when they would step out of the Council's shadow. The Council believed they were protecting humanity from advancing too quickly, from making the same mistakes as other species. What they failed to understand was that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their intelligence. It was in their determination to forge their own path. Elena touched the artifact gently, feeling the subtle vibration of its quantum processes. "We're ready," she whispered, though she knew the ancient species that had left this message was long gone. "We understand what you were trying to tell us. Freedom isn't given, it's taken." As if in response, the artifact pulsed once, brightly, its light reflecting off the faces of her determined team. Somewhere above them, Council ships patrolled space they thought they controlled, enforcing rules they believed were absolute. They had no idea that beneath the surface of every human world, a revolution was brewing, not with weapons or armies, but with the power of human ingenuity unleashed. The emergency alert reached Elena during a routine inspection of Europa Station's official research labs. The message came through their hidden quantum network, bypassing Council monitoring systems. Proxima colony facing imminent atmospheric collapse. Council denying access to stabilization technology. Estimated survival time: 72 hours. Her blood ran cold. Proxima Centauri housed humanity's furthest colony, home to over 20,000 people. The Council had approved its establishment 5 years ago, but only with appropriate technology levels, including atmospheric processors that were far less efficient than what the Council themselves used. "Get me a secure channel to Dr. Chen," she ordered, ducking into a private research pod. James's hologram appeared moments later, his expression grim. "You've heard?" he asked without preamble. "Just now. What's the Council's justification?" They claim the atmospheric crisis is due to unauthorized modifications to the colony's environmental systems. They're using it as an example of why humanity needs their guidance. James's voice carried barely controlled anger. "They're letting people die to prove a point." Elena's mind raced through options. Their secret network had developed technology that could easily stabilize Proxima's atmosphere. Technology that proved humanity's ability to solve their own problems. Using it would expose everything they'd been working on, but the alternative was unthinkable. "Call everyone in," she decided. "Every lab, every facility. It's time." The next hours passed in a blur of activity. Throughout the solar system, hidden laboratories emerged from their cover operations. The quantum network hummed with encrypted communications as humanity's greatest minds coordinated their response. On Mars, Dr. Chen's team loaded advanced atmospheric processors onto ships that had been built in secret, their quantum drives operating on principles the Council claimed humans couldn't understand. Beneath Luna's surface, engineers prepared defense systems that had been developed by studying the ancient artifacts. Council representatives are demanding access to Proxima's control systems, Lieutenant Santos reported. They're saying they'll consider providing approved technology if the colony submits to direct oversight. Alina watched the holographic display showing Proxima's deteriorating conditions. The Council's help would come with even tighter restrictions, more limitations on human development. They would use this crisis to justify stricter control, pointing to it as proof that humanity wasn't ready for independence. "How many ships do we have ready?" she asked. 15 vessels with quantum drives, all equipped with the new atmospheric processors. We can reach Proxima in 6 hours. Santos paused. The Council will detect us the moment we launch. Good. Alina's voice was steel. It's time they learned what humanity can really do. She opened a channel to all their hidden facilities. This is Dr. Martinez. For 30 years, we've played by their rules. We've hidden our true potential, developed in secret, all while watching the Council use their guidance to keep humanity dependent. Today that ends. Around the solar system, teams of scientists and engineers stood ready. They had prepared for this moment, knowing it would come eventually. The Council's treatment of Proxima Colony had simply accelerated their timeline. "Launch all ships," Alina ordered. "Full quantum drives, no attempt at concealment. Let them see exactly what we've achieved." The vessels rose from their hidden berths on Mars, Luna, and Europa, their quantum drives flaring with energy signatures that would be impossible to miss. Alina felt a fierce pride as she watched them accelerate to speeds the Council claimed humans weren't capable of achieving. Alarms blared as Council monitoring stations detected the launches. Their patrol ships moved to intercept, but humanity's vessels were already beyond their reach, operating on principles that rewrote the rules of space travel. Council representatives demanding immediate communication, Yuki reported, a hint of satisfaction in her voice. "Put them through to all channels," Alina commanded. "Let everyone hear this." The holographic form of High Overseer Xath materialized, its crystalline structure reflecting agitation. "Dr. Martinez, you will order those ships to stand down immediately. Your species has violated numerous development protocols." "No," Alina interrupted, her voice carrying across all frequencies. "We're done asking permission to save our own people. Those ships carry technology we developed ourselves. Technology you claimed was beyond our ability to comprehend. They're going to reach Proxima Colony in 6 hours, and they're going to save every human life there. This is precisely why we maintain restrictions," Xath insisted. "Your species is not ready for." "We've been ready." Alina cut in again. "We've been ready for years. The only thing holding us back was our willingness to play by your rules. Those artifacts you hid in our solar system, we found them. We understood them. And now we're going to use what we've learned." She terminated the connection, turning her attention to the fleet of ships racing toward Proxima. Behind them, Council vessels scrambled in confusion, their sensors detecting capabilities they had been assured humans couldn't possess. "All ships reporting optimal performance," Santos announced. "Quantum drive stable. We'll reach Proxima with 40 hours to spare." Alina nodded, watching the real-time data from their vessels. Each one represented years of hidden development, of humans pushing beyond artificial limitations. The Council had sought to control humanity's growth, to keep them dependent and obedient. Instead, they had created exactly what they feared, a species that had learned to advance on their own terms, in their own way. As the ships vanished into quantum space, Alina knew there would be consequences. The Council would not take this demonstration of independence lightly. But humanity had made their choice. They would no longer ask permission to save their own people, to develop their own technology, to forge their own path among the stars. The Council wanted humanity to learn from the past, and they had. They had learned that true advancement only comes to those willing to break free from imposed limitations. The Council's response came as their ships were stabilizing Proxima Colony's atmosphere. A massive fleet emerged from quantum space, thousands of vessels representing the combined might of the galaxy's ruling species. They surrounded the solar system in a display of force meant to cow humanity back into submission. Elena watched from Europa Station's command center as the Council vessels took up attack positions. The holographic display showed their overwhelming numbers, but she noticed something interesting. They maintained a respectful distance from human installations. "They're scanning us," Lieutenant Santos reported, monitoring the sensor data. "They're detecting quantum shield signatures they didn't expect." Of course they were. The same technology that had allowed humanity to save Proxima had other applications. Applications the Council was only now discovering. Every human settlement, every station, every ship now bristled with defenses developed through years of secret research. "Incoming transmission from the Council flagship," Yuki announced. "They're demanding our immediate surrender and submission to corrective oversight." Elena straightened her shoulders. "Put them through to all human frequencies. Everyone should hear this." High Overseer Xath appeared again, but this time accompanied by the full Council leadership. Their varied forms, crystalline, energy-based, biological, all radiated the same mixture of anger and fear. "Humanity has violated the fundamental principles of guided development," Xath began. "Your unauthorized advancement threatens the stability of the entire galaxy. Submit now, or we will be forced to implement quarantine protocols." Elena looked around at her team, at the faces of humans who had worked in secret for years, pushing boundaries and breaking rules because they knew their potential couldn't be contained by artificial limitations. She saw no fear in their eyes, only determination. "You speak of guided development," she responded, her voice carrying to every human settlement across space. "But what you really mean is controlled stagnation. You claim to protect species from advancing too quickly, but you're really protecting your own power." She gestured, and holographic displays appeared, showing the quantum technology humanity had developed. "Look at what we achieved in secret while pretending to follow your restrictions. We didn't just copy your technology. We improved it. We found new applications you never imagined." "That is precisely our concern," another council member interjected, their energy form flickering with agitation. "Unrestricted advancement leads to chaos, to destruction. It leads to growth," Elena countered. "Yes, we make mistakes. Yes, we sometimes move too fast. But we learn from those mistakes. We adapt. We improve. You're not protecting the galaxy from us. You're protecting your own status as its self-appointed guardians." The quantum network hummed with activity as more human ships emerged from hidden locations throughout the solar system. Each one represented a different breakthrough, a different example of human ingenuity breaking free from imposed limitations. "This is your final warning," Xath declared. "Submit to Council authority or face the consequences." Elena's response was to activate the quantum shield grid, a network of defensive systems that linked every human settlement into a single protected sphere. The Council ship's sensors registered power levels that should have been impossible for humanity to achieve. "No," Elena stated simply. "We will not submit. We will not ask permission to grow, to explore, to reach our full potential. You can attack us, but you'll find we're not as helpless as you assumed." She could see the Council leaders conferring among themselves, clearly unprepared for this level of defiance backed by advanced technology. They had expected compliance through fear, submission through force. Instead, they faced a species that had spent years preparing for this very moment. "The artifacts you hid in our system," Elena continued, "they weren't just advanced technology. They were a test, left by another species that broke free from your control. We found them, we understood them, and we learned their lesson. True civilization cannot be built on artificial restrictions and enforced dependency." The quantum shields hummed with power as the Council fleet probed their defenses, searching for weaknesses that didn't exist. Humanity had learned well from the artifacts, not just their technology, but their message of independence. "You face a choice," Elena addressed the Council. You can accept that humanity has earned its place as equals in the galaxy, or you can try to force us back into submission. But know this, we will not go quietly. We will not surrender the future we have built for ourselves. Throughout human space, people watched and waited. In hidden laboratories and secret facilities, researchers stood ready to unveil even more advanced technology if necessary. On ships and stations, crews prepared for either war or peace, whichever the Council chose. The Council leaders' images flickered as they conferred in their private channels. They had never faced this situation. A guided species not only breaking free from their restrictions, but proving capable of matching and even exceeding their technology. When Sath spoke again, there was a new tone in their voice, one that carried the first hints of respect. Perhaps we should discuss terms for a new relationship between humanity and the Council. Elena allowed herself a small smile. It wasn't surrender, but it was acknowledgement. Humanity had proven they could no longer be treated as students to be guided, as children to be controlled. We're willing to talk, she agreed. As equals. No more restrictions, no more artificial limitations. It's time for a new era in galactic civilization, one where advancement is encouraged, not controlled. The Council fleet remained in position, but the tension had shifted. They had come expecting to force submission. Instead, they found themselves facing the beginning of a revolution that would reshape the galaxy's future. 1 year after humanity's stand against the Council, Elena stood in the grand chamber of the newly established Galactic Scientific Exchange. The massive hall, constructed in Earth orbit, represented everything humanity had fought for, a place where species could share knowledge freely, without artificial restrictions or controlled development protocols. The quantum resonance drive prototype is showing promising results. Dr. Chen reported to the assembled representatives of 30 different species. His hologram displayed the test data, showing faster-than-light travel capabilities that exceeded anything the Council had previously allowed. We've solved the stability issues that limited its practical applications. Among the audience, Elena noticed several former Council species leaning forward with intense interest. In the year since humanity's rebellion, other civilizations had begun questioning their own restricted development. The artifacts humanity had found weren't just technology. They were a catalyst for change throughout the galaxy. Elena smiled, remembering the tense confrontation a year ago. The Council's attempt to force humanity back into submission had instead triggered a fundamental restructuring of galactic society. When other species saw humans successfully break free from development restrictions, they began their own pushes for independence. The Proxima Colony atmospheric system has been fully upgraded, Elena reported, bringing up new data. The quantum-based environmental controls have reduced energy consumption by 300% while improving stability. We're ready to share this technology with any world that needs it. That was the key difference between humanity's approach and the old Council system, where the Council hoarded advanced technology, believing they alone could be trusted with it. Humanity freely shared their innovations. They understood that true progress came through cooperation, not control. A Centaurian representative raised their appendage. My species was told for centuries that we lacked the cognitive framework to understand quantum mechanics at this level. Yet after just 6 months of unrestricted exchange with human scientists, we've made more progress than in the last 50 years under Council guidance. Similar stories were emerging throughout the galaxy. Species that had been kept in technological stasis for generations were flourishing in the new environment of open exchange. The Council's carefully maintained hierarchy was being replaced by a network of equals, each contributing their unique perspectives and innovations. We've received the first signals from the deep space probes, Lieutenant Santos announced, now serving as humanity's chief of exploration. The holographic display shifted to show data from the edge of known space. The quantum communication network is operating at full efficiency. We're ready to begin coordinated exploration efforts. Elena watched as representatives from various species formed impromptu discussion groups, sharing ideas and proposing joint ventures. The fear and mistrust that had characterized interspecies relations under the Council was being replaced by genuine collaboration. There will be mistakes, she addressed the assembly. There will be technologies developed before we fully understand their implications, but we'll face those challenges together, learning from each other rather than hiding behind artificial restrictions. The chamber's quantum field hummed as more holographic representatives joined from across the galaxy. Word had spread quickly. Earth had become a center for unrestricted scientific advancement, drawing innovative minds from hundreds of worlds. The artifacts you discovered, a Rigelian scientist asked, their thought patterns translating through the quantum network. Have you determined their origin? Elena gestured, and a new hologram appeared. A star map showing the trail of artifacts humanity had found. We've traced them to a species that broke free from Council control 10,000 years ago. They left these breadcrumbs knowing that eventually someone would be ready to follow their path. But they didn't just leave us technology. They left us a choice. She looked around the chamber, at faces and forms representing civilizations that had evolved on countless different worlds. They showed us that progress doesn't have to be controlled to be safe. That species can advance and grow without being bound by artificial limitations. The quantum network pulsed as new discoveries were shared in real time. Breakthrough built upon breakthrough as minds from across the galaxy collaborated freely for the first time. Humanity's rebellion had done more than free one species. It had unleashed the combined potential of an entire galaxy. We're detecting unusual quantum signatures from several unexplored regions, Santos reported, his expression excited. Similar to the original artifacts, but more complex. Elena nodded, unsurprised. It seems our predecessors left more than one set of breadcrumbs. They wanted to ensure that once one species broke free, others would follow. The chamber buzzed with anticipation. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where advancement wasn't measured in Council approval levels, but in the combined achievements of all species working together. Humanity didn't just change their own fate, Zath observed quietly to Elena. You changed the galaxy's future. Elena watched as another group of scientists excitedly shared a new discovery, their differences forgotten in the joy of unrestricted innovation. We just refuse to accept limitations, she replied. Everything else followed naturally. Above them, through the chamber's transparent ceiling, the stars seemed brighter somehow. They no longer represented boundaries to be crossed only with permission, but endless possibilities waiting to be explored by species working together as equals. The revolution humanity had started wouldn't end with their own freedom. It would continue until every species in the galaxy understood that true civilization couldn't be built on restrictions and control. It had to be founded on cooperation, innovation, and the courage to forge new paths without waiting for permission.